Hi, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing 3 tips that will make your homeschool a success. And so if you enjoy seeing this type of content, remember to subscribe and let's get into this video. Okay, so this video is an open collaboration video with Abby from Rooted in Rest and Jessica from the Waldock Way. So there'll be a playlist link down below that'll have a whole bunch of other videos from homeschool moms that'll give you more ideas, more tips, more resources to make your homeschool a success. So make sure you check those out. And we're gonna try to make it through this video without a baby, but we'll see. We'll see if he falls asleep. If not, then he might join us, but we'll see if we can get through it. And so I have 3 tips I wanna share with you, plus a bonus tip at the end. So if you hang around to the end, you get a bonus tip. So let's start with tip number 1. Okay, so my first tip is to do what works best for you and your family and not somebody else. I feel like that's kind of a life tip because so many times we compare ourselves to others, or like, oh, this is what they're doing and this is what works for them. And guess what? It might not work for you. It might not work for how you learn. It might not work with how you like to do things. And so don't compare yourself to someone else. Do what works best for you. So I have my notes here so I don't forget anything because my brain's a little sleep deprived. It forgets stuff normally. So sleep deprived brain is not, it's not functioning correctly. So schedules, okay, your schedule might be different than somebody else's that is homeschooling. Maybe you still, like I have a baby, so my schedule is way different now than it was a month ago. And so I have to adapt that. Or maybe you still have toddlers or young children that are sleeping in the afternoon. So maybe that's the best time for you to get schoolwork done, is when they're taking a nap. Or maybe you have them go to preschool. So my 4-year-old goes to preschool, and so that's a good time for us to get a lot of work done when I don't have an extra child that I'm trying to also occupy as well. Or maybe you just function better in the afternoon or in the morning, you know, so whatever works best for you, kind of adapt to that. Or maybe you like have a hobby farm like Angela Braniff, right? And so you have to kind of adapt your schedule according to what you have to do. You have all these chores and stuff to take care of these animals. So do what works for you. And just because someone else is doing something different doesn't mean that it works, is the best for you. So, sorry, we might have a baby that's screaming right now. Hold on just 1 second. Okay, I'm back. We have a baby. Hopefully he'll be happy for us. So the next thing on my list for what works best for you is maybe you're more of a hands-on person, and so you like a curriculum that allows you to do that. Or maybe you're one of those people that's like, no, I need the curriculum to basically do everything for me, or I don't feel like math is my strong point, or grammar for me, like language arts is not necessarily my strong point. So you might pick something that works better for you and your personality and the time that you have to give to each of your kids. And so that's something else to think about, and that's going to look different for you than it does for someone else. Another thought is, you know, do you like unschooling kind of approach or more of a traditional schoolroom approach? And either one is fine, and obviously those are both ends of the spectrum, so anything in between is totally fine as long as it works best for you and is something that you like to do. Sorry, we have the hiccups over here, so it's like hiccuping every time. Anyways, and so do what works best for you. If you like just kind of this free-for-all schooling, I don't know if that's the right term to use, but that's kind of what unschooling makes me think of, just kind of everyday life kind of school. If you like that, then do that. If you like more structure, then add some structure. If you want it to be like traditional school without them going to traditional public school, then do that. You know, whatever works best for you is gonna work great for your kids because it's something that you've thought about, that you've carefully picked, and you might change it. Like I know ours has changed over the years as I've kind of discovered what we like to do. And it has become a mix of structure versus just like, let's do whatever we want or go pull out a game. I don't care what you do today. And so just decide what works best for you. And then the last thing is, if you live by museums, if you live by the ocean, if you have certain hobbies you just love, like sewing or woodworking, I'm listing things I like to do, or cooking, incorporate those into your homeschool space. You know, make it unique according to where you live. Like we live close to the mountains, so you could go hiking and have a whole bunch of fun with nature schooling that way. You could go camping. You know, try to incorporate those things from where you live and from what you like to do into your homeschool space. And again, that is going to look different than it does for someone else, but that's totally fine. And I think that's what makes it so fun and unique and makes it more enjoyable for your kids. Okay, my second tip is to meet your kids where they are at. And I feel like this is so important. And this is a huge advantage of homeschooling, which might be why some of you are homeschooling. This is why we started homeschooling, was because my son's needs weren't being met in public school, and it was causing him to be very frustrated and very sad about school. And so make sure you meet them where they are. I know sometimes we get a curriculum and we feel like, oh, we gotta rush through this, and we gotta get through, not necessarily rush, but we gotta get it done by the end of the school year. And it's okay if you don't. Or it's okay if you finish it halfway through the school year and need to move on, because they might be ahead. And that's the advantage of being able to homeschool, is to meet them where they are. Kids get so frustrated when their needs aren't being met, whether they're bored out of their mind because it's so easy, or they're frustrated to death because it's so hard for them. And since they're not in public school with a ton of other kids, and it's really hard for a teacher to keep up with everyone, we have an advantage to be able to take care of those needs. And so don't just leave them behind. Make sure that you're addressing them. And yes, it might take a lot of work on your part. I know sometimes it has on mine. I get frustrated. I'm like, why don't you just get this? Or why isn't this working? Or we've already tried so many curriculums. When are we gonna find something that works? But eventually you will. You'll find something that just works best with your family, and your kids will be so much happier when you do. And so I think that is a huge key point in having a successful homeschool, is having happy kids who are excited about learning. Okay, so my third tip for having a successful homeschool is to change it up. Yes, we can do the same things for a while, but it's always fun to have something different. We all like to have things different, to change it up a little bit. So like we do our lemonade time, which is our tea time every single month, like once a month. You could do a nature study, right? So adding these kind of extra things are helpful. You could play games. So next month's collab video, I think, is actually our favorite game. So look forward to that one, and you can see some of the games that we like. I also have some game schooling videos. I'll try to remember to link those below. We'll see how the brain works. And so then you can check those out and see some of the games that we've liked. We've gotten more since those videos. What else did I say? Oh yeah, so you could go hiking. You could incorporate some of those hobbies I've talked about into your learning. Maybe you just have one day where it's more hands-on or more STEM, or maybe you're always incorporating that kind of stuff, or you do crafts. And you can have manipulatives. I pulled a few things out, not very much, because I only have one hand and I just wasn't gonna pull very much out. With a baby, everything's a little bit harder and takes a little bit more work. So here we are. Are you staying happy? We're good, I think. So there's like these erasers. We use these for bingo. You can use them as manipulatives in math if you need something like that. But these I think are just from Amazon, and these are a fun thing to have. I have tons of little things like that. You can also find tons of erasers in the Target dollar spot, but I don't live by a Target. Maybe one day, hopefully they'll build one here, but right now we do not have one. And so I don't get to go to Target very often, so Amazon is my friend. But there's also these. They're kind of hard to see, but they're like the little beads you put in a vase or whatever in the bottom, and then you fill it with water. It looks, those pebbly rocks, looks cool. But my kids also like to use these as manipulatives or for different activities and stuff like that. This is another thing that I got from the Target dollar spot. This was a long time ago. Sorry, the glare is awesome. But these are really fun for my kids to pull out, and you could use this for any, like if you're doing history and talking about maybe a certain building, or like the Great Wall of China, you could pull something like this out, or Legos, or even we have some craft blocks, and they could glue those together and have them like build it, because that's just super fun for them. Instead of us reading stuff, or maybe while you're reading, they could build their own if you showed them a picture. And so do something a little different that way. And then also I have tons of these little this isn't a binder, what is this? A magazine holder. It holds books for me, but I just pulled one of them out. I have tons of these in my homeschool closet, and I fill them with different topics of books. So I pulled out the teeth one because it's February, and I think it's National Dental Month or something. I don't know. It was either this or the Black History one, and that one was a little bit more buried. So this one was easier to get to, but I also have one for Black History. So sometimes for February, we do Black History Month. and we'll pull out a bunch of stuff that way. So I have some different subjects, and there's way more than we could cover in a normal school year, but you could do something like that. So I have books for different topics, and even just for the holidays and stuff, and celebrate those things. And so Valentine's Day, I could have pulled out the Valentine's one too. So I have books for Valentine's Day. So you could also pull those out, and you could have some crafts with those and just set the books out and read them. And again, it's a small thing, but it really makes a big difference to just this is what we do every single day. And you just add in a few different things that way. I don't know if there was anything else. So like I already said, with hobbies, I like to bake. So adding in a cooking aspect is really fun for me and fun for my kids, because it's something I like to do and want them to learn how to do it as well. So you could have that as a Friday activity or something like that. So just any little thing to kind of change it up, make it different. And it doesn't have to be a ton of work for you, but it will be a lot more fun for your kids. Okay, so my bonus tip, this was something that popped in my mind as I was brainstorming these ideas, is scripture study and prayer, like meditation, my worship with Christ. I guess we could call it that too. This is very, very important to me. And I feel like it is key to having a successful homeschool, because if my relationship with Christ is not going well, then everything else falls apart in my life. And I'm not as nice of a mom. Right now my scripture study is not happening in the early morning because I am sleeping or taking care of a baby and stuff. And so it's a little bit of a mess right now, but usually I try to study in the morning because it kind of would set the mood for my whole day. And so I think a key point in having successful homeschool, especially for someone that's a very strong Christian, is to have that worship time with Christ, having my prayers, my scripture study, all those things, because then I feel ready for the day. I feel like even if it's gonna be a hard day, or my kids are gonna have a rough time, or I'm not gonna know what to do, that at least I know that Christ is on my side. And I just think that's important for us to remember. And so that's why I wanted to add it in as a bonus tip, is just, I don't know, obviously we're not all Christians here, but some sort of meditation, some sort of worship, something that helps set your mind right for the day, I think is very, very important and key to a successful homeschool. Okay, so those are my 3 tips plus my bonus tip. I hope you enjoyed them. If you have any tips for me or things that you just think work well for you guys, please comment them down below. And remember to check out that playlist so you can get even more ideas, and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.